Alright guys, for today's lesson you're going to need two different colors. If you want to match mine, I'm using pink and blue. I know it kind of looks like orange and purple in the video. But if you want to match, it can be matte pencils, it can be markers, it can be highlighters, it can be pens. I prefer highlighter, but you need two of them. Also, I have sent this paper and I realize not everyone can print it, which is perfectly okay. So you're going to need a piece of paper out so you can draw these on there. I'll give you time at the beginning of each one of them to draw. So if you need time to go get two colors, go ahead and do that now. Pause the video and push play when you come back and you're ready. Alright, for question 1, you need to draw parallel lines cut by transversal, and you need to label 140, 1, 3, and 2. So go ahead and take care of that if you weren't able to print this paper. Alright, so what we're going to do is, and if you need more time at any time, just pause the video. We're going to take our two colors. Alright, and I'm going to pick my first color and I'm going to put it at the 140. Okay, then I'm going to jump across the line and put the opposite color. Jump across the line and put the opposite color. Now there's not a line here to jump, so I'm just going to swim across and put a dot. Jump the line, opposite color. Jump the line, opposite color. Jump the line, opposite color. And then there's not a line to jump, so I'm going to swim across. At the end, I should have 8 dots, and when I go in a circle, they should go back and forth. Across from each other should be matching. Alright, so yesterday we talked about that every dot that's the same color is equal. So for instance, this pink dot is 140, so this pink dot is 140. And this pink dot is 140. And this pink dot is 140. Then I have blue dots, and I can see that blue dot is an acute angle, so it's not 140. But yesterday we talked about that a pink dot plus a blue dot equals 180. So I know that 140 plus that missing angle is going to equal 180. So I need to think. 140 plus what? Now I can subtract it, but I'm going to find out that it's 40. So my blue dot is 40. We know it's 180 because it makes a straight line when I put those two together. So if this one's if this one's 40, this blue dot has to be 40, and this blue dot has to be 40, and this blue dot has to be 40. Okay? Now if you're doing the paper with us, if you've printed it, you would then see that angle number 1 is 40 degrees, and I'd come over here to the side, where it tells me 40 is an R. So number 1 I would put down here an R. For those of you at home, I'm not going to worry too much about filling in the bottom and the side, but just practicing those angles. So each of these angles would be 40, and these angles would be 140. So let's look at the next one. Do the same thing. I'm going to take my two colors. It doesn't matter if you have two different colors. It doesn't matter if you have the same colors, but you don't start with the same one. That's okay. So last time I started with pink, I'll start with blue this time. So put a blue dot, jump over the line, put a pink dot, jump over the line, put a blue dot. There's not a line here to jump, so I'm just going to swim across and put a dot, jump over the line and put a dot, jump over the dot line and put a dot, jump over the line, put a dot. Again, there's not a line to cross here, so I'm going to swim across. Alright, so I should have 8 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, across, should be equal to each other. Okay, so if this pink dot is 35, then this pink dot is 35, and this pink dot is 35, and this pink dot is 35. pink dot plus a a blue dot is going to equal 180, so I know that 35, that pink dot, plus that blue dot is going to equal 180. To find out what that blank is, I can subtract both sides by 35. And I get that this missing piece is 145. So pink plus blue is 180, so this blue has to be 145. And every blue is 145. So it should go 145, 35, 145, 35, 145, 35, 145, 35. All right. Here's your next one. We got parallel line cut by transversal, where the bottom left is 105. If you need to copy it down, take a minute to copy it down. Push pause while you copy and push play when you're ready. Alright, so I'm going to start with my colors. Doesn't matter which one I start with, but I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to jump the line, put a dot. Jump over, put a dot. There's not a line to jump, so I'm going to swim down and put a dot. Jump the line and put a dot. Jump the line and put a dot. Jump the line and put a dot. There's not a line to cross, so I'm going to swim. Again, I have 8 dots. The dots across from each other are the same color. So if this blue one is 105, then this blue is 105, which means this blue is 105, which means this blue is 105. A blue plus a pink is going to be 180, so I know that I'm going to have 105 plus something. It's going to equal 180. So I can subtract 180. I can subtract 105 from 180 to get that missing dot. Is going to be 75. And if this dot is 75, then this dot is 75, and the pattern continues. Notice angles across from each other are the same color and the same measurements. I can also visually see that these both are obtuse and they both have obtuse angles. These two are acute and they have acute numbers. Alright, let's look at this one. For those of you drawing this on a piece of paper, you're going to do a parallel line, cut by transversal, where this interior angle right here is 60. If you need a minute to draw it, please pause your video and push play when you have it drawn. Alright, so I'm going to start with my colors. So I'm going to put a dot, jump over the line, put a dot, jump over the line, put a dot. There's not a line to jump, so I'm just going to swim down, put a dot, jump over the line, put a dot, jump over the line, put a dot, jump over the line, put a dot. There's not a line to jump, so I'm just going to go ahead and swim up. Alright, I should have my angles across from each other being the same color. I should have no side by side being the same color. Alright, so for me, this pink one here is a 60. So all of my pinks are 60. Of course, whatever color you chose for that 60, all of that color is going to be 60. Now, if you stuck to the same colors I have, then it'll match. But if you didn't, of course it won't match. So I have a pink plus a blue. So pink plus a blue is going to equal 180. So I'm going to do 180 minus 60 to find out what's going to go in that spot. And I get 120. Which tells me this blue is 120. Because together they make a straight line, which is 180 degrees. This is also obtuse, so it makes sense that it is a obtuse measurement. So the one across from it, all my blues are going to be 120. It should go 60, 120, 60, 120, 60, 120, 60, 120, 60. Alright, now this one looks a little different because they took the parallel lines and they're now going sideways. So if I turn the paper, I can see it a little bit better. But it's the same exact concept. So if you need to draw this, it's two parallel lines cut by a horizontal transversal. And this outside angle, this exterior angle is going to be 45. If you need to take some time to draw it, please pause the video. I encourage you that if you are not actually doing this on your own paper, watching me do it, even watching me do it this many times, it's great, but if you don't actually practice it yourself, if you don't actually practice doing the dots, then you're going to find out that it's hard when you don't practice it. So watching me is great, but watching me doesn't ensure that you understand it or can do it. And I have a lot of you virtual right now, so I don't want you coming back and being lost on this. So be sure that you are practicing doing this. Okay, I'm going to start with my dots. Just like before, I'm going to start in one of my corners. Jump the line. Put a dot. There is no line to jump, so I'm going to swim across. Put a dot. Jump the line. Put a dot. Jump the line. Put a dot. Jump the line. Put a dot. Swim across. Put a dot. Jump the line. Put a dot. Again, I can see my angles that are across from each other. They're called vertical angles. They are equal. They're the same colors. So if this blue one is 45, then this has to be 45. And this blue has to be 45. And this blue has to be 45. Blue plus a pink together is going to equal 180. So I'm going to have 45 plus the blank is going to equal 180. So I can do 180 minus 45. And I get 135. So this missing angle is 135. So these pinks are 135. So my blues were all 45, my pinks were all 135. Makes sense because the pinks were all obtuse. They have an obtuse measurement. My blues all had a acute measurement. So it makes sense that they are acute angles. Alright, the next one. They completely turned my parallel. They are now vertical parallel instead of horizontal parallel. So go ahead and take a time to draw it. Cut by transversal. This exterior angle is 153. If you need a minute to draw it, then pause this video and draw it. Again, you need to be practicing doing it. Alright, so just to kind of change it up a little bit, you can start anywhere you want to, any angle. I like starting in that top left every single time, but I'm going to show you that you can start in another one if you want. So I'm going to start down here at the 153. I'm going to jump the line, change the color. Jump the line, change the color. Swim across, change the color. Jump across, change the color. Jump across, change the color. Jump across, change the color. Swim. And I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colors. I have some people who they just take one marker and they do all the obtuse, and then they take the other marker and do all the acute. That's okay if you see it that way. So if this pink is 153, then this pink is 153. And then this pink is 153. And this pink is 153. To find my blue, pink plus blue make a straight line. So it's going to be 153 plus what? It's going to equal 180. So I can do 180 minus 153 to find that it is 27. So if this blue is 27, then this blue is 27, and this blue is 27, and this blue is 27. So it doesn't matter which direction my parallel lines are going, it's going to be the same concept, the same coloring coding, same matching up. Sorry, I'm recording this during school, and class next door is kind of loud. I don't know if you can hear them. All right, so this one's a little bit different because that transversal isn't at an angle. It's completely vertical. But it's the same thing. So I'm going to start with a dot, cross the line, change the dot. Cross the line, change the dot. There's no line to cross. I'm going to swim down. Cross the line, change the dot, cross the line, change the dot, cross the line, change the dot, swim up, and change the dot. I always like to do a double check. There are 8 dots there. My verticals all match. Alright, so this right here, symbol, means that's 90 degrees, which means every peak is 90 degrees. Well, I know a peak plus a blue is 180, so 90 plus what is going to equal 180? And that's a 90. So guess what? All my blues are 90 also. So what we've looked at so far is this pattern when I have a parallel line cut by a transversal. Okay? If I look at the next one, I do have a parallel line, but now I have 2 transversals. So we're going to spend a little time looking at eliminating one of those transversals to solve this. This is a little bit trickier one. We're going to start with that top angle of 21. So these 3 angles together made a straight line, which means it's 180. So that tells me those 3 angles, so angle 50, angle 70, and that missing angle is going to equal 180. Now that 21 is just numbering that angle. It's not the measurement because it doesn't have a little degree sign. So 50 plus 70 is 120. Something of 120 plus what equals 180? Okay. Well, we've already looked at that. 60 plus 20 equals 180. So that missing angle is 60 because those 3 angles together made a straight line. Alright, so I'm going to put a pencil and we're going to pretend like that line that I just covered up doesn't exist. So I have a parallel line cut by a transversal. And I have this angle and this angle. Now if you watched yesterday's video, then we learned that those were interior angles because they were on the inside. And we learned that they were alternate interior because they were on opposite sides of the line. We also learned that alternate interior angles are equal to each other. So because these are alternate interior, this one's 70, this one also is going to be 70. Okay, we're going to do the same thing this time. We're going to pretend that transversal is not there. I have 50 in this angle 22, and they are both inside my parallel, so they're interior. And they're on opposite sides of that transversal, so they're alternate interior. And we learned yesterday that alternate interior are equal. So this is 50. You also learned in 6th and 7th grade, maybe even 5th, I can't remember, that the angles of a triangle all equal up to 180. So 50 plus 60 plus 70 equals 180. So it's a nice little check. Because there was not too much matching except for remembering these definitions. All right, let's look at the last one. We don't have any parallel here. Okay, so we're just going to have to use some knowledge we know. So I know this symbol means 90 degrees. I also see that this one is right across from it, and it also formed a 90-degree angle. I can see that when I combine these 2 angles down here, it makes a 90 degrees. So I can do 55 plus what gives me 90. So 90 minus 55 is 35, so that missing angle is 35. So I think, what other knowledge do I know about this? Well, I know that this and this are across from each other, and we learned up here that angles that are across from each other like that are equal. So this one's 35, then this one has to be 35. And again, these are across from each other, They use the same two lines to form them, so they are equal. We're able to find all of our missing angles using that information. All right, if you have any questions, please send them our way. Using your journal, hopefully you practiced some of these, because it's one of those things that just practicing those color coding. But if you didn't, then you're probably going to have trouble when you take a test over it. So be sure you practice it. All right, if you have any questions, send them my way.